Good morning, cherubs.
Good morning, Heather.
Hello and welcome to the Cherub Chats podcast. I'm your host, guardian angel and big sis, Heather Michelle, and welcome to season 2. You guys, I am so excited to be back and talking to you guys. It has been so long, and it has been much longer than I thought it would be. So I figured this episode we can recap what's going on and talk about what is to come for this season. I think I quickly touched on the fact that for season 2, I really wanted to be intentional and have a theme that connects all of the episodes because I want it to be really helpful and beneficial to your personal growth in this season, especially because I also want to grow in this season, and I don't know what the name for it is going to be quite yet, like the glow up season or metamorphosis or something, but basically we are going to be talking about how to become our best and like highest versions of ourselves, because I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of changes have happened that don't even feel like me from 4 months ago and me today are living in the same timeline. We're like not even the same people. And in so many ways, I have already transformed and metamorphosized, but in so many more ways, I really want to continue to improve and just better myself. So that's what season 2 is going to be all about. I already have all the episodes pretty much mapped out. And of course, there's going to be room for more on the fly conversations as well. But for the most part, I have a blueprint of what I want these next few months to look like for myself. And in many ways, I feel like I'm leading you guys because I've already done this in some aspects of my life. But in a lot of the ways, I'm right there with you. I'm also trying to better myself. And I feel like, okay, let's just get into it. So yes, I am using my laptop as a coaster. So last we spoke, it was November of 2023. Behind the scenes, I had already known that we were moving, I was packing, I was organizing, decluttering, selling things. I was looking for apartments. I was in conversation with a lot of different places, trying to coordinate Zooms and applying to places. I was also trying to record content for the current time that I was living and also pre-recording so that when I was moving, you guys still would have a little bit of content to consume for me. I was also obviously living my life on Pinterest, like pinning away dream like interior decor and how I wanted my office to come together and this podcast studio to come together. So I had a lot going on, and I felt like in a lot of ways I was reaching this point that I felt was the end of a chapter, but I was still in limbo. Like I had the future in sight and the past was behind me, but I'm still in that past shell, if that makes sense. I really wanted to share everything as it was happening, but for some reason I just felt like once everything is said and done, it'll be easier, because part of me had this fear, and I want to be really honest. I haven't said this on any other platform, and I've been trying to like kind of save my feelings for the podcast because I know the girlies who get it, and they're gonna listen on the pod, and I just didn't want to put myself out there for everyone to hear. But I want to be honest and say that I was really scared to move here because for 3 years I had been miserable and depressed in Texas, and I kept blaming these external things, right? Like, oh, I'm lonely. Oh, I don't have friends. Oh, I don't live in my dream home. Oh, now I have a home. I'm isolated. Oh, I'm isolated. Like I live way too far out from everything. Oh, we moved closer to the city. Well, I don't even like to do anything here. And I just kept playing this blame game, right? And through personal development, I learned that a lot of the issues that I have in my life could be easily solved with myself, right? And I say that a lot, and sometimes I feel guilty by saying it because I don't want people to victim blame themselves, but at the same time, we all are so capable of bettering our lives in more ways than we think we can, right? So I've been saying that from the get-go, like whatever's going on with your life, in some way you have control to better it. So I was bettering things that were in my control, and all that I was left to feel like I needed to change was my environment. And I had known this for years, and as much as I did want to move, it was almost this fear of, what if we get there, I have reached my dream life, everything else I've already improved, and then the last thing gets improved and I'm still miserable? What if I'm still depressed? And it ends up just being me. What if I'm the problem? What if nothing can make me happy? And it was a scary thought. And it was a scary thought to think that we're packing up our whole life and we're shaking up our routine and we're making ourselves like unstable in a way, and obviously depleting our funds because moving is so fucking expensive, and moving to an expensive state like California. And what if at the end of the day, it's all for nothing because I'm still unhappy? And this was something that I had only told a couple people, because I hate, it's not that I hate being negative, it's just that to me, saying it out loud means that it's true. And so I didn't want to say it out loud to everyone. Also, another aspect of the fear was the fact that I am a content creator and I'm pretty much a freelance employee. Like, my work obviously ebbs and flows a lot, and the expenses in Texas definitely were at a point where if I made money that month, if I didn't make money that month, it didn't really matter because we were very, very comfortable. And moving to California, it was like, all right, like, you are definitely having to bring money consistently to the table in order to survive, like point blank period. And it was this pressure that I didn't know if I was able to perform at yet, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know that I can do that. I didn't know. As much as I was really scared, I was ready to get the fuck out of there. I felt really hopeless, and I'm sure you guys caught on. Like, I would talk about it all the time, and it just felt like the light was leaving my life. And even though I was very happy and found joy in a lot of things in my daily life, it just felt like, I don't know, I was drowning. It was this very, very terrible feeling, and I hope nobody feels that, although I know the reality is that a lot of people our age experience that. Although I was really depressed and sad in Texas, I think what helped bridge the gap between my previous life and my current dream life is the fact that I was grateful in the face of undesirable reality. And I think I actually learned this lesson from my four-year-old niece. For Christmas, my husband and I gave her this Jeep, and I thought she would be so excited and like screaming and jumping of joy, because I know that I would have dreamed of a gift like that from my aunts and uncles. And she opened it and she was like, I already have one. She just wasn't excited, and it crushed my heart a little bit. But sadly, my thought was, okay, I'm not going to try as hard next time, because I don't want to give something that I'm so excited to give and then be rejected in a way when someone's not excited. And what I learned from that experience is that if you're not grateful for the little that you are given, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, the higher power at B, is not going to then try to outdo themselves with a bigger blessing or a bigger gift in your life, right? That changed my perspective, and maybe, I don't want to blame myself, but maybe my quote unquote suffering, or maybe my sadness, would have been cut short if I had just learned to be grateful sooner on in my journey. But it happened the way it was meant to happen. And I definitely was doing a lot of work on myself, educating myself towards the end there. And I feel like that's really when things started kicking it into high gear. And so I'm very grateful to be at this point. But there's a lot of things I learned in Texas that I'm going to take into account here, hopefully. But we moved. We've been here for about a month now, and I'm so proud of the changes I've made in even just a month. Like, one of my biggest goals this year was to make friends and to become a social butterfly and to really push myself and make myself uncomfortable in situations, because I know that growth comes with that uncomfortable feeling. And I'm so lucky that part of my job is, being social and going to events and things like that. And especially now that I'm closer to those events, I get invited to these amazing opportunities and places, and it's kind of crazy. First event I went to was literally 3 days after we had got here. I had no clothes. I had a portion of my makeup here with me, but I was like, you know what? This is going to be setting the tone for my life here, and I just want to push myself. I didn't want to go. I was tired. I felt ugly. I was on my cycle, but I was like, no, Heather, you're going to go. If I show up and 15 minutes later I want to leave, that's totally fine, but I just wanted to push myself to go to this event essentially by myself. I went with a beautiful manager from the Lilac Agency, which is the agency that represents me. But I didn't know her, and I didn't have any friends that I knew that were going. So I showed up, and it was really scary, and I felt like a loner kid in high school again, and I felt like re-traumatized, and I felt like, am I doing the right thing? Do I belong here? Like, I know I deserve to be here because I fucking busted my ass to get here, to the point where brands are opening their arms to me, but I don't know that I fit in. And it was a little scary. It was fun. I am very flexible in the sense that I can be shy, but I can push myself to talk. And that's one way I kind of cope with my anxieties. I just talk, and I can't stop talking. So I was talking, I was, trying to soak it all in. But I got to the point where my social battery ran out. And I felt like Cinderella, like I ran at the stroke of midnight. Well, it wasn't even midnight. I think I left at 8. It had taken me 2 hours round trip to get there, and I stayed there for 1 hour. But I was incredibly proud of myself for just getting there, and so soon after getting here. My first event was that milk makeup, which I was really, really scared at. But then the second event that I went to was the e.l.f. Super Bowl. And at first it was a little awkward. I did get some liquid courage in me. I brought my husband with me, and he's like my security blanket. So I felt a little like more comfortable. And I actually sat next to Sloan, which I didn't know this, but I guess someone had commented under her video saying like, hey, there's this girl I follow. She also just moved from Dallas to California. Like, you guys should meet up. And I followed her, but like, you follow so many people, you don't really recognize their faces necessarily. And I was like, no way, that's so crazy. Let me like look you up and I'll follow you. And it turned out I was already following her. So kind of crazy, but yeah. So, and then also another girl that I follow was sitting next to her. So that was really cool. I saw so many people. Like, I saw Laura DIY. She was at that event. And who else? There was like so many TikTok famous people that I recognize. And like, that's saying a lot because I don't really recognize a lot of people. So I was a little starstruck. I wasn't like asking for autographs here, but I was like, what the heck? It wasn't really the fact that I was in awe of them. I was just like, how am I at the same event as them? They'll really let anyone in these days, huh? I'm kidding. But I was like, I was just confused at like how these two worlds could coexist in the same room at the same time, because I see myself as like a 13-year-old little girl, like watching these people from my room. Miss Tessa Brooks was there. I was like, I'm confused. Why am I here? Very cool. I think I did a good job socializing there. I also met Stephanie, just a ton of people that I follow, and it was really cool. And I almost felt a little bit more comfortable because I recognized people, and I was chatting it up with the girlies. The next event that I went to was Huda Beauty. like School of Snatch, which was so freaking cool. The event was beautiful. I met stunning people. That's actually where I met the girl that I went on the first friend date with. Her name is Jade. Hello, mentor. Oh, are you joining the pod, Stu? You're joining the pod. Thank you. What else? And then just this weekend, I went on a red carpet. It sounds a lot more exciting than it actually is, but it was a party for Hello Molly, and it was like in the hills of Beverly Hills, like overlooking all of LA. The house was absolutely gorgeous. They sent me a gown, and my husband and I dressed up to the nines, and it was just beautiful. But in some way, I feel like I regressed because we were there for an hour and my social battery just was so drained. I didn't talk to anyone really. I talked to one girl that I'd seen at another event before. But it was a Sunday too. I was like tired and I was like, let's just go. We're here. We saw, we conquered. Now we can go. We took the pictures and it was really cool. Unfortunately at that event too, like there's so many beautiful people, and that's one tricky thing about LA that I hope never really gets me down too hard, is like there's so many beautiful people, and I was seeing like the people at the event interviewing them and taking pictures and videos of them, and I was like, oh, I must not be that kind of pretty if they're not doing that to me, or like I must not be big enough to be interviewed, and I started kind of getting down on myself, and I just felt like out of place a little bit. And obviously I didn't post that online in the vlogs and in the pictures, but I just got that feeling like the first event, where it's like, I know I deserve to be here, but do I even fit in? Am I one of the girlies, And it makes me sad because I felt ugly while I was there, but then looking back at the pictures and the videos, I was like, I look so pretty, and I took so much time getting ready, and I felt amazing when I was home, but then my insecurities just got the best of me, and it happens to the best of us. Listen, I feel like I'm a really confident person. I'm really bold, and I do love myself, but sometimes that the hormonal brain will get to you. But I think that it's important to share that side of events too. Like, as much progress as I feel like I've made in pushing myself and saying yes to so many things, it's okay that I'm still not 100% comfortable. It's been a month. Like, I'm still a little baby, so it's okay. But I just wanted to kind of be real with you guys and like tell you it's not all glitz and glamour. Like, I still feel uncomfortable in these spaces, even though I know that I deserve to be there. I just feel weird sometimes still, and it's still so crazy that I get to be there as well. And yesterday I was just standing at the edge of the balcony, and I was trying to enjoy the actual moment without overthinking too much. And I think I successfully accomplished 30 seconds of enjoying the moment and taking it in before the overthinking came in. But hopefully I have many more chances to really soak it all in. I'm going to Coachella. Like, what? I'm going to Coachella with my management team, and I think we're going with Essence and Ava NYC, if I'm not mistaken, and a few other makeup brands. So like, they're sponsoring us and we get to go, and I'm so excited. You guys already know I'm gonna turn out the looks, but I obviously have you guys to thank for all of these opportunities, and I feel like you probably get so tired of me saying thank you, but thank you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, because I don't know that little Heather was meant for all this. Like, my destiny, my life, what I was born into, like, this wasn't for me, and it's not besides me. It never goes one day without realizing, like, I wouldn't be here on my own. So thank you guys, as always. Ew, not me crying on the first episode. Girl, get your life together. And I really do feel like moving has helped me come home to myself. Like, for a second there, I was letting like pessimism win, and I would look outside and I'd be like, ugh, ew, so much hate in my heart, even though I was being grateful in a lot of ways and being happy in a lot of ways. Like, I was just turning into a really like sad person, and that's not me. I don't think I've always been, with a big smile and really happy and always looking at the positive. And I'm just happy that I can be that way. And of course, it's easy to be positive when it's 75 and sunny and your dreams are coming true. But I think I've proven that I've been able to keep that sunny disposition even when life isn't looking so good. So hopefully the Lord doesn't test me anymore, because I am done. I cannot take any more hardship. Seriously, Lord, I think you front loaded me on that one. All those fears were laid to rest, and instantly I feel like my mood was so much better, even though our life wasn't even 1% settled out, straightened out. It was still a mess. We had nothing. We had no furniture. We had no food. We had nothing. Obviously, no friends, and like, I don't know. Everything was just so up in the air still, even after being here, but it just felt right. And yeah. And ever since moving, I've been pushing myself to socialize at these events. I went on my first friend date, and yeah, life has been good, and I'm very, very proud of myself and all that I've been able to accomplish in the first month of being here. With that being said, as happy as I am being out in nature and doing all the things that I love to do, I feel like this first quarter has been an absolute waste. And I don't want to say that because I don't want to belittle the big accomplishment that I was able to achieve, which was moving and becoming a social butterfly. But so many aspects of my goals for the year were not addressed in the first quarter. And I kind of struggle between being upset about it and wishing I had done more, and trying to be understanding and realize, like, you just moved halfway across the country. Your life did a complete 180. So have some grace with yourself. And this podcast is launching on the first day of spring, which is basically nature's new year. And so if you have felt like I have done nothing, I've accomplished nothing in the first quarter, do not feel bad about yourself. Even someone like me, who maybe you see on social media and it looks like, wow, she's doing so much and she's accomplishing so much, I even still feel like, what have I done? I don't know. I wasted my time. I have 0 goals accomplished. My year has gone down the drain. It's been 3 months, and one of those months is extremely short, so chill out. One of the things that I ended up dropping by the wayside because of this bigger goal that I was able to achieve, which was moving, is my health. I gained some weight, even though I still have like been able to maintain working out. I think I didn't start working out until 2 or 3 weeks after moving, and I just started doing Pilates. So like, I'm just now starting to get into my routine again, but I haven't been like drinking water or like eating properly. I've been eating out a lot, and we've been going to like cool restaurants and coffee shops near us and like eating treats a lot, and just all of those like muscle mommy goals have just like gone the complete opposite way. So on my YouTube, actually, I want to start like a little back on track series. So yeah, but there's other things that I completely didn't do. Like, one of my bigger goals as well was like giving back to community. I really want to volunteer. I volunteered exactly 0 times, and there were 3 months that passed by. So that's unacceptable. Granted, I have had very little like free time. Definitely, I'm going to put my focus on that. Although like becoming a social butterfly and making friends was a big goal of mine this year, I haven't actually made any friends, like I've socialized, I've talked to people, we've exchanged Instagrams and things like that. And I feel like I've socialized more in the past month than I have in the past 3 years. I still haven't made a friend. So that's one thing that I'm like kind of down about. I haven't traveled, but I did travel from Texas to California. So like that's one. I'm looking at my vision board so I can remember what my goals were. One goal that has gone completely the opposite way is I'm like losing followers every day on TikTok. I don't know what that's all about. If suddenly people don't like me because I have red hair, I know that's crazy, but like on social media, things like that do matter, which is sad. But all the girlies that followed me from my blue black dyeing hair toots or things like that, like they're hitting the road. I've definitely spent more money than I've made. Well, I don't know. The beginning of the year was pretty good because all those holiday campaigns were hitting the bank account, if you know what I mean. But as far as like contracting a ton of work, I haven't. So, you know, but this is all not to like get myself down. It's just to get myself a good base point. And I can guarantee you by the next quarter, I will have at least some of these goals improved. You know what I'm saying? And so it's almost like when you hit rock bottom, you have nothing to do but go up. And this is not rock bottom by any means. This is way better than rock bottom. But I just want to like, I'm really motivated to hit everything into high gear and like get everything on 100. And this truly is the season of metamorphosis. This is the season of glowing up. This is the season of achieving and completing the promises that you have been promising to yourself for so long and becoming the person that you want to be, because there's nothing really holding you back besides yourself. And we're going to go all over it next week on what's been holding you back. I'm very happy and I'm very grateful for the point that I'm at. And although I have so much that I want to achieve in this next year, I'm also taking a moment to really soak it all in, because I feel so many times in our lives we're looking at the goal and saying, I'll be happy when I get this goal. And we get there and we forget that that's all we've been wanting for the past years. And we move on to the next goal. Well, now if I could just get to this goalpost, and we just keep moving the goalpost to the point where we're just looking down, working, and we forget to look up. And I think it's obviously a very common thing to point out is like, just enjoy the journey. But I really have found myself not even just thinking about where you've gotten, but just feeling where you've gotten, just sitting and feeling it. And like, what do you hear? What do you see? What do you feel now that you've reached your goal? And I think I'm really happy. And I think you guys can see that I'm really happy, and I cry a lot of the times thinking about how happy I am and thinking about how different life has become. Not even just in the past 3 years, but since the last time I was in California. I was working a 9-to-5 job that I was miserable at, making barely minimum wage, hustling, hurting my feet, hurting my back, breaking my body down to make very little money. I was exhausted all the time. And even though I lived here, I didn't really get to enjoy it to the point that I do today, because I didn't have the privilege that is time. So this week, a few cherubs asked a few questions. My mom has made it her mission to be hyper involved when it comes to my health. Not complaining, because she helps me break down my blood work results, but this time she snooped a little too much and saw my pap results. We haven't spoken in a week. I don't know what she expected of me. It makes me upset and a little sad at the same time. It comes to show that this was a product of her emotional neglect. We never got to actually talk about things like this at all. Coming of age, sex life, relationships, dating, etc. What's crazy is that I had a very, very similar experience when I lost my virginity, and I went to Planned Parenthood to get some birth control. And my mom I guess they do a pap smear. I can't remember if it was a pap smear or they do some sort of like testing, I guess, whenever you go in, and I got an IUD. And I can't remember. I selected something so that I wouldn't get mail, but it ended up coming to my house. And of course, my mom, seeing the fact that it was Planned Parenthood, opened it up thinking my daughter just got preggy and ex-nayed it. And she opened it and saw that it was just like a result of my physical, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was like, I got the letter. Are you having sex? Da, 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 da. And it was like an interrogation. It was very uncomfortable, but it was very like, at the same time, just, it is what it is. It happened. And I just wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. And I completely understand. My mom also didn't talk about sex with me. She didn't give me the birds and the bees talk. And exactly, I felt exactly the way you do, where like, what do you expect? I'm not going to come up to talk to you about what's the best birth control, or, hey, I'm not a virgin anymore, since you never showed that that was a topic we could talk about amongst each other. So I don't think you should feel guilty in any way. It is a little sad that parents can't trust you, but I would just have a conversation and be like, hey, I am a grown adult. I had consensual sex, and I would appreciate it if you respected my privacy when it comes to these topics. Like, please don't go looking through my mail. First off, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Second off, it's just disrespectful. When it comes to this topic and conservative mothers, you could always just agree to disagree, because I don't think they're ever going to be cool enough to be like, okay, I get it, you're a grown woman, sure, pop off, queen, like condoms in a bowl type thing. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I'm sorry, but just know that that experience is probably really, really common. I think you guys are confused. You guys all replied with the numbers, I guess, of stuff you wanted me to address, but for next week, when I ask you guys to submit your advice, give your advice to your Ask Your Angels, if you have any words of wisdom, go ahead and swipe up and reply with some advice, not necessarily the number that you want me to talk about. Advice on getting back together with an ex after maturing, but they've had other partners after you / slept with people after you. Okay, so I'm going to take it as you both have matured and you're ready to join together again, and you've improved upon whatever has caused you to break up. I'm going to say lovingly, if you guys haven't worked on the problems that cause you to break up, I don't think it would be healthy to go back into it, because time isn't enough to improve a relationship, unfortunately. But let's say that you ticked off the first couple boxes. You kind of do have to think about it as a completely different relationship. And with most relationships, you don't go in thinking, oh, I wonder who they've slept with, or I wonder how many people they've slept with. I mean, I'm sure you do, but realistically, you don't get hurt by the knowledge of it. Whereas if you think about it as that's your boyfriend, and your boyfriend was sleeping with other people, that's going to hurt more. So you need to think of it as like, this is a new man coming to this relationship. Because realistically, unfortunately, like, you were on a break. The old Ross and Rachel situation. But you really can't torture your mind like that. You have to just move on. Unfortunately, like, if they did, that's their right, and that's what they chose to do. And I'm sure if you had done the same thing, or if you did do the same thing, you want them to respect that and also not feel hurt by you using your freedom to choose whatever you wanted, right? The important thing is that you guys are together now, and that you guys are being faithful to one another now. Last question, specific, how to improve and develop your confidence. And again, we will be doing a whole episode on confidence, But yes, that is a wrap for episode 1 of Pod Season 2, Metamorphosis and the Glow Up Season. Help me pick a title, because I don't know what to call this, but we're all going to enter our glow up era in every shape and form. Because I have been in a cocoon for the past 3 years, and it is time for me to rip out of my chrysalis and out into the world as the fabulous creature that I am. And I know all of you guys are, because you're here with me, obviously. So, yeah. Let me know what you think of this first pod ep. And let me know if you're excited for the rest of the season. And yeah, get your little notebooks. I want you guys to really take in the information. I want this to truly help you guys. And I want this to help myself out, honestly, because I have so much to grow and learn in the next 3 quarters. But again, the new year starts now. It starts today. So don't be sad. Don't be scared if you didn't do everything that you wanted to. If you want to participate in next week's Ask Your Angels, make sure to follow Cherub Chats Pod, because I am now only posting the Ask Your Angels and Answer Your Angels over on the pod Instagram. So make sure you are follow me there so that you can catch up, and make sure to follow me on the Cherub Chats Pod YouTube channel, because I am now only posting the visual on the YouTube channel for the pod. So yeah, I hope you guys love the pod cover, and I really want to make this a wonderful experience for you guys. You guys know I love trying. Trying is my second middle name. I love putting in effort. I love finding new ways to improve the quality, and I hope that it shows, and I hope that you guys enjoy. But remember, you are never alone when you're part of the Cherub Club. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Our first episode, Mr. Chatter.